and then several others that I sampled. I also have some booklets of mine, which I don't have any actual books, but of the 7 that I had published. But I have several creative writing pamphlets, and so if you like to take a look at those, they're $2 each, and I'm sure you all here can help me get gas money to go back to London. I grew up here, went to high school in 65 to 1970, and just got my transcripts in from high school, because I registered at Western. Found that I guess I must have failed English. It wasn't even on my year 2 mark. But since then, I've had 7 books in print. I'm the founder of the Canadian Poetry Association. President of hmspress. I have published about 15 or 20 authors so far. We have about 35 books in print. Just this year, I won the 1989 Editor's Prize from the Canadian Author Bookman magazine for the best poem of the year, which I'd like to start off with, and then I published from my book of anti-war poems entitled Auschwitz. 8 poems. Rather angry that day. I wrote the whole book in about 45 minutes. Prisoner of war, we were unable to help you, flesh torn, barbed wire, scraping red your bare skin like a lover's fingernails digging in, drawing you closer to her. We saw you running, muscles pumping, your heart filled our eyes with tears, both for your last burst of freedom and for fear. Fear of dog tracks in your footsteps, as they clamped your throat and drank your breath into their hot lungs, and ripped bone white you hung in your newfound freedom, and as the guards pulled you from your steel sanctuary, 2 blood-stained barbs caught your cheeks and pulled a smile across your face. It was for some friends I lost in Vietnam War. Now, in light of the bombings in London, just recently by the IRA. I don't know if you remember, there was an Irish Catholic girl who ran off and married one of the British soldiers, and they shaved her head and tarred and feathered her. So this is for the Irish conflict. Can you feel your father's pain? Why do you carry his hate on your shoulders? 2nd and 3rd generation hate. You make it sound like your ancestors were the only ones killed in the war. Let him fight his own fights, dream his own dreams, and let him hate his own hates. You can only help him by letting go. Instead, you reinforce his ideas and his ideals on people who weren't even born then. Do you want to be married to his memories? It may hurt to divorce your feelings from his fears before marrying into this modern world, and as everyone knows, you can't dance at 2 weddings at the same time and then be expected to spend the honeymoon in only one pair of clothes. That was, unfortunately, it was a mass sellout, and I have no copies of it. It got good reviews. My 3rd book, that was my 5th, my 3rd book was a little longer, it was about 32 pages. It was a book of love poems, and in it were some of my early poems that I wrote just after high school. One local area. I went in '74 to a baseball game called an aftermath of a baseball game. I guess they lost. For the girls softball team, they were sitting around the Ingersoll Inn crying in their beer, literally. So I wrote these, I won't mention names because like one of them was reading it. But I'll read it. It's called, there's only 2 poems, but it's called the Ingersoll Inn Trilogy. You have like the Lost Week, one of the 3rd ones. Come in to the Ingersoll Inn. Phil, pull up a chair. All have the same. Fill our glasses with laughter, fill them with flame. Come sit with us and sup with us all night and morning too. I've lost my flame so true. So be my friend and comfort me. Tell me that I'm pretty. Tell me that I'm thin. talk me laughter in this Ingersoll Inn. Tell me the morning bell won't ring. My friends and I have lots to do, drinking away the pain, drinking away the pain. Part 2. Well, I get embarrassed. Come drink with me, pour me another beer, dance me another dance. Come to me, my man in white, and take me, kiss me in the early light, and come and sing and come and play, and with you beside me will I lay, and bring my beer and bring me home, far from this place where I'm alone. I'll go to be alone again, to dream my dreams of all those invisible men. It's about the 5th time I've tried to read this poem, so if anybody has a cleaner. My dad passed away at Christmas. Somebody else want to read this poem? I'll try and get through it. I've been promising myself I could. I wrote it a couple of weeks ago. If anybody's not familiar, my mother, Mrs. Ray, was a high school teacher in Woodstock, Collegiate. My dad, Claxton Ray, is Dixon's Florist and Early Center, just out on Ingersoll Road, going up to Highway 2 towards Beachville. 1989 was not a good year for war vets. Few made it past Christmas. Some slipped through the new year. All of them slipped through our memories. 1989 was not a good year to die, because you can't say I love you when you're gone. You can't share the good times when you're gone. You can't clean your gun when you're gone. You can't play with your grandchildren when you're gone. You can't change your will when you're gone. You can't smile when you're gone. You can't tell war stories when you're gone. You can't hug me when you're gone. You can't say I love you when you're gone. You just can't when you're gone. Sorry. I had to say it loud so I wouldn't get all emotional. A lot of my poetry, all these poems have been previously published in anthologies or books. A lot of my poetry is down to earth, what I call street corner poetry. It's not, well, as one reviewer said of my book of love poems, sounds like an insipid bunch of poems written by a maudlin, subjective 19-year-old right out of college. So after that, I started not beating around the bush and saying exactly what I was trying to say. Apparently, I was the only one who called. The new emergency number 911 never answered for 20 rings as the cardiac arrest lay on the blacktop at the corner of Dundas and Seaton 10 minutes before I arrived, and she would have been ambulance alive if it had not been for the alarming rate of apathy and illiteracy at the corner of Dundas and Seaton at 11 at night in Toronto. And just to give you an example of the insipid love that were in the other book, I've included on my earlier one. 2 love poems. Someone had written her a love song, which she read under the hot noonday sun. Someone must have known her well enough to want to share his life with her. She absorbed the heat of her nakedness while she stood in her backyard tanning, while reading the rhyme of this love song. She wondered who could be so sweet in the lines that were spoken. She would have liked to have answered this person who wanted to share love's token. When she finished reading, she could not return the same, for beads of sweat fell from her breast and washed away the pain. This is a true story. Suicide on Jarvis Street. Actually, that was the only thing the reviewer had. He said after he criticized his book, and he made it feel that, 6'3", down from 4. He said Wainwright does have a command of rhyme, so that was the only good thing that he said of the whole book. One summer night she walked alone along a street of cobblestone, and with each step of echoed breath, she feared no evil, laughed at death. Fair of face and soft of skin, purest heart having never known sin, she chanced to meet a man disgraced, a slug into a human race. And feeling pity as she always does, felt sorry for him just because. But through the booze and drugs of night, he saw her in a different light. His mind went crazed, he swirled about as in a daze, and struck her firmly round the head until he thought that she was dead. And then he pulled her to his lair and tainted her soft virginal hair. And when she woke, the night was cold, she felt so used, so very old. Slowly walking home to rest, she ripped her heart from beneath her breast. And moving ahead about 10 years, if you grow up with someone and then it stops at a certain age and then you don't see them again either forever or 20 or 30 years later, you always have a mental image of them still being that 10-year-old kid down the block or that 16-year-old girl next door or whatever. Or in my case, not having been in 20 years of beard. Or 25. Okay, won't make it sound too old. This is, in 1967, I went to the junior forest ranger program up in Algonquin Park and met a family there and just kept in contact every 3 or 4 years. And I've never even seen them since, but Christmas card, stuff like that. It was a girl that I liked. Well, I think it was a family. It's hard to believe that I've been in love with you for 20 years. Although I've never written you a love song, never phoned in the last decade but once, only written twice, but I dreamed. You have been the main character in my stories told late at night to typewriter keys. You have been the heroine of my plays. You will be 15 forever. When I was 17 and you were almost sweet 16, I dreamt I swam the lake to your cabin, carried you to the beach, kissed your lips, caressed your skin, but having never known love, I dreamt. When I was 27, you were still 15. I had a family of my own, but each and every summer I would get away and drive to the lake where your spirit walked the shoreline of my mind, and having never known your love, I dreamt. Next summer I'll be 37, and you will still be 15. It's when you don't grow up together that you never ever age. When you don't see someone for as long as I have not seen you, you wonder if they age, if they drink. I will keep going back to the lake where we first met until I die, and then you will turn 16. I will leave a photograph of myself for you on the beach, and if you take a close look, you will see me floating. Next love story is a story of brotherly love. This is, if you're unfamiliar with the term found poem, a found poem is when you take anything, an expression, graffiti, newspaper articles, anything, and you rewrite it in such a way that you can claim it's yours even though you're not the original author. You found it. This, I won't tell you what this was until I finish. It's fairly long. 3 pages. It's a found poem. A blue-grained line. The blue-grained line circles a fragment of the mind. A dead mosquito flattened against the door after dark. Atlantis, what makes you flower as the night rides into the moon? a man in terror of impotence, and now, outside these walls, this is how you live. A woman, children, an old pot, an old shoe, and an old skin. A piece of thread ripped out from a fierce design as solid seeming as antiquity. Autumn equinox, autumn sequence, the old times. Autumn torture, and a woman in the shape of a woman walking behind grimed blinds, slanted across a courtyard back there. Birds and periodic blood blacked out on a wagon, part of my life, cut out forever. Can I easily say there is a celebration in the plaza? A child with a chip of a mirror in his eye, coming by evening through the windy city, completely protected on all sides, where cruelty is rarely conscious. The days of spring, dead, dead, dead. Demon lovers, did you think I was talking about my life? About evenings which seem endless now, and even when I thought I prayed, I was just talking to myself. Everywhere the snow is falling. From here on, all of us will be living in frost, burning the city ill. Burning. The city's ill, however legendary. As hopes sparkle like water in the clear carafe, and I am trying to imagine I am up at sunrise. I am walking rapidly through striations of light and dark. I don't know. In my dream, children. In my imagination, insomnia. In the field, the air rides, a heat pocket in the desert, in the heart of the Queen Anne's Lake. A knot of blood in the woods. It is asleep in my body. I trust only my existence. Last night you wrote on the wall, revolution is poetry. Letters from the land of sinners means there is something to hold on to. Meditations for a savage child, a mirror in which two are seen as one. Night pieces for this child. Now, again, the life and death talk. Now not a tear begun. Now that your hopes are shamed, you stand nursing your nerves. And when our mother went away, and our father was the king out in this desert. Rain of blood, rape reforming the crystal, riding the black express from heaven to hell. So many minds in search of bodies, something broken, something. The clouds are electric in this freedom of the holy mad. Their faces, safe as an interior, their life collapsed. Their music of words, the music of words, the mystic finishes of time, the long sunlight lying on the sea. The pact we made was no ordinary pact. There were no angels. The trees inside are moving out into the forest, and they say, this is a woman's confession. This is how it feels to do something you are afraid of. To live illusionless in the abandoned mines, to live, to lie awake, trying to tell you we had to take the world as it was given. We smile, bound on the wheel of an endless conversation, whatever it was, what was happening when the ice began to shiver, when the grains of glaciers are caked in your boot cleats. You are beside me like a wall. I touch you with my fingers, and you are falling asleep. I sit looking at you, hiding there in your words. You see a man in your dream. You see the poems of some woman. You are sleeping now. Cover you with my heart. Those are the first lines in an anthology. I just opened up the back of an anthology at the index to see what was in there. And just all the lines, the first lines of the poem just started flowing together. So I left out a few, changed a few, and created that sound poem from something else that existed, which is a good creative style to do. This one's a little bit different. I was working with a girl in a construction company 2 years ago in London, And we landscaped the new Galleria around London, Wellington Street, Clarence, along Dundas, in the middle of July, August, when the sun is beaming down and it's hot. And she just moved here from Calgary, and we were always kidding her because she was constantly thinking about her old boyfriend that she lived with for about 3 years before she moved here. Call it Rich Digger's orgasm for Karen. You watch the trains go by as though they were alive, beat time as if it is your heart. Steel rails pounding, traffic on Wellington loud with cars and cranes, buses and jackhammers. Yet all you see and hear ride beat to rail, beating time as if it is your heart. Hot sun beating on your breast, shovel handle slides its shaft, sweaty in your clenched fist. Hot sun pounding knees, heart pounding knees, steel rail pound, maidenhead pound. Out of breath, out of mind, noises in the city, voices in the city, softly fades the train, softly fades the train, softly fades. This I wrote, I grew up on an Air Force base in Newfoundland until we moved here, American Air Force Base. And this was written for the reunion, which was in '86, 20 years after closing the base. Going home. Would I take the next plane to you? Could the next one carry me, my baggage, and all my love? Would there be enough room? If I were to take the next plane, and even if it landed right in front of your house, would your dreams be fulfilled? Could they fill all the empty seats and the cargo bag? Should I take the Concorde and be there in an hour, or catch a sightseeing Learjet and see the country before joining you for dessert? When I knock at your door with my suitcase in one hand and my heart in the other, would my dreams, your expectations, and our memories recognize each other? It's okay, the humorous ones are towards the end. They're not all morbid to brother. This, well, my mother thought I was writing about myself here, and got rather worried when I gave it to her. But this is just sort of the general unrecognized person in the neighborhood who was going out and doing a lot of things, and everybody thinks, well, it's just a hobby, and he'll get over it, or he'll get a real job. This is my last letter home. Just enough time to say goodbye to Dad and Mom, all my friends, roses in the hedge, the street corner poet selling words, the street corner church selling words, the street walker selling words. This is to be my last letter home to Tom, Dick, Sally, Fred, Spot, and Sue. If I could only be there to see the looks on their faces. But I've been running so long, so damned hard they wouldn't recognize me, or my street corner face, my clenched fist face. This should be my last letter home, where in my old bedroom sits my trunk filled with letters, old dreams, photos, scraps of yellowed paper. No one will read them because I never sparked that magic fire in their hearts enough to melt the stones and ice in their illiterate minds. Is this my last letter home, where when I was there, the light was on, books and paper dolls lined the walls, and the smell of pipe smoke dulled my sensitivity to real food. Reach out and read me. Read my books. Read my plays. Read my poetry. Never more those false smiles when I call. This is to be my last letter home. One copy to you, one to her, and one to each friend who greeted me first. Smile, bought my books. Anyone who is better now than when they started. One to the clubs I belong to, and to the ones I wanted to belong to. And maybe some to some of your friends. This should be my last letter home, to ask for love, like can you say for love? No. To you, a street corner is a milk store. To me, it's concrete poetry. People, death, dogs, acid rain, bums, broads, tourists, reds, pinks, greens, punks, pigeons, drugs, turkeys, diamonds in the rough. Is this my last letter home? You're damned right it is, and you know it. I've been hiding my feelings on paper, writing between the lines of all my poems, stories, and plays, trying to reach only you, wanting you to say, I understand you. I do. I really do. And you'll come to my gravestone where I will be forever alone, holding this letter brought from home. Still thinking it's just another poem. It's supposed to be a humorous poem. As long as everybody knows what a wedgie is. The girl that I was working with, and a whole bunch of other guys who were laying patios one day, came up behind me when I had an armload of bricks and managed to give him a wedgie. I couldn't retaliate because I had all these bricks. A little heavy to throw at somebody that's killing. Super wedgie. Had it been any other time in my life, your hands wrapped firmly around the back of my underpants, your legs planted securely on the ground, it might have been quite erotic. But really, while I was carrying a load of bricks in my hands, defenseless, that upward thrust of a super wedgie, that crotch-killing wedgie, was no way to end the week. Should you wish to attract my attention from now on, just hit me in the back of the head with a shovel. It's much less painful. Now, there's a new magazine out going into its third issue, featuring a lot of my poetry and photography. It's called the St. Thomas Chronicles, coming out of St. Thomas in about, should be at print in about 2 or 3 weeks, the third issue. The guy phoned and said, do you have anything you can write about St. Thomas? And I was thinking of the Psychiatric Institute out there, and a friend of mine was writing residence there a couple of years ago. So I sat down, about 5 minutes later, came up with this thing, sent it in. Well, 10 minutes. Queen Elizabeth visits St. Thomas. The day the Queen of England visited St. Thomas, she put on a baseball cap, slipped into her Kettle Creek coveralls, and drove up and down the main drag in her pickup truck. She started driving from the shadow of the gray tusked giant and whizzed past the library where famous writers had been known to pat that statue on the ass, wishing she were alive. The Queen ran a red light, headed further east to go shopping at the local tire store for some things the castle didn't have. The night following the day the Queen came to St. Thomas, she walked up and down the street, waving and smiling at everyone. I am the Queen, she said. I am the Queen. She had tried desperately to hide her true identity. She only wanted to get away. A little peace and quiet, you know. She continued waving and smiling until long after 9 p.m., when the streets are rolled up and children are sleeping, and donut shops are filled with baseball caps and cigarettes. I am the queen, she said, as two palace guards in white uniforms escorted her away to the castle out on the highway. You could see her smiling in